My dear friends, let me share something that might surprise you. Last month, I was sitting in my doctor's waiting room when I overheard a conversation that stopped me in my tracks. Two elderly gentlemen were discussing their recent health scares. One had just received news about prostate concerns. Another was worried about his wife's recent mammogram results. What struck me wasn't their fear, but their feeling of helplessness. "Doc says there's nothing I can do but wait and see," one said with a heavy sigh. But here's what I wanted to tell them, and what I'm going to share with you today. They couldn't be more wrong. You see, while we can't turn back the clock or change our genetics, there's a powerful secret hiding in plain sight in our own kitchens. Nature has provided us with 6 incredible seeds that have been quietly protecting families for generations. Yet most of us walk right past them in the grocery store without a second glance. I'm talking about simple, everyday seeds that your grandmother might have used. Seeds that modern science is now proving can be our strongest allies in the fight against cancer. Not expensive supplements or complicated treatments, just pure, natural foods that have been sustaining healthy communities around the world for centuries. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Another health fad? Too good to be true. I understand that skepticism. We've all heard promises before, but what I'm about to share with you isn't based on trends or testimonials. It's backed by solid research and, more importantly, by the real experiences of people just like you and me, who have made these seeds part of their daily routine. The statistics are sobering. Cancer rates continue to climb among adults over 50. But here's the encouraging news. Many of these cases could be prevented through simple dietary choices. The power isn't in some distant laboratory or expensive treatment center. It's literally sitting on your pantry shelf or waiting for you in the bulk bins at your local grocery store. Think about it. What if the key to staying healthy and cancer-free was as simple as adding a handful of the right seeds to your morning oatmeal or evening salad? What if the protection you're seeking has been available all along, passed down through generations of wisdom that somehow got lost in our fast-paced modern world? Over the next few minutes, I'm going to take you on a journey through 6 remarkable seeds. You'll meet real people whose lives have been transformed by these natural powerhouses. And you'll discover how each seed works in its own unique way to protect your body from the inside out. But here's what I need you to understand right now. This isn't just information to file away for later. Every day you wait is another day your body isn't getting the protection it deserves. Every meal without these seeds is a missed opportunity to strengthen your natural defenses. So settle in, grab a cup of tea, and let me introduce you to nature's most powerful cancer-fighting allies. By the time we're done, you'll never look at seeds the same way again. Part 1. Macadamia nuts, the gentle guardian. Let me introduce you to Eleanor, a 78-year-old retired librarian from Portland, Oregon. When I met Eleanor at a community health fair last spring, she had a glow about her that immediately caught my attention. Her eyes sparkled with vitality, and she moved with the energy of someone decades younger. "What's your secret?" I asked, expecting to hear about some elaborate wellness routine. Instead, Eleanor smiled and pulled a small container from her purse. "Macadamia nuts," she said simply. 3 every morning with my coffee for the past 15 years. Eleanor's story began when her doctor expressed concern about her family history of breast cancer. Rather than simply worrying, she decided to research natural ways to protect herself. That's when she discovered the remarkable properties of macadamia nuts. Those creamy, buttery gems that most people think of as an expensive indulgence. But here's what Eleanor learned, and what I want you to know. Macadamia nuts are packed with monounsaturated fats that actually help your body fight inflammation at the cellular level. Think of inflammation as tiny fires burning throughout your body. Macadamias are like gentle rain, cooling those fires before they can cause damage. These nuts are also rich in manganese, a mineral that acts like a bodyguard for your cells, protecting them from the kind of damage that can lead to cancer. And the phytosterols, natural compounds found in the nuts, work quietly in the background, supporting your body's natural defense systems. What I love about Eleanor's approach is its simplicity. She doesn't complicate things with elaborate preparations or strict schedules. Every morning, as part of her peaceful coffee ritual, she mindfully enjoys 3 macadamia nuts. She savors their rich, creamy texture and feels grateful for the protection they're providing. "It's become my morning meditation," Eleanor told me. "I hold each nut for a moment and think about all the ways my body is taking care of me, and how I'm taking care of it in return." The beauty of macadamia nuts lies not just in their protective properties, but in how easily they fit into your daily routine. You can chop them over your morning yogurt, add them to your afternoon trail mix, or simply enjoy them as Eleanor does, as a mindful moment of self-care. Some people worry about the calories in nuts, but here's what research shows. The healthy fats in macadamias actually help your body process other nutrients more effectively. They're not just adding to your diet, they're making everything else work better. If you're new to macadamias, start small. Buy a small bag from the store. Yes, they cost a bit more than other nuts, but think of them as an investment in your health. Try Eleanor's approach. 3 nuts with your morning beverage, taking a moment to really taste and appreciate them. As you chew, remember that you're not just enjoying a delicious treat. You're actively protecting your cells, reducing inflammation, and giving your body the tools it needs to stay strong and healthy for years to come. Part 2. Watermelon Seeds. Ancient Wisdom, Modern Protection. Now let me tell you about Marcus, a 65-year-old jazz musician from New Orleans, whose grandmother's wisdom literally saved his life. Marcus grew up in a household where nothing was wasted, especially not the seeds from the watermelons they enjoyed on hot summer afternoons. Grandma Rosie would look at us like we were crazy if we spit out those seeds, Marcus recalls with a warm laugh. She'd say, "Child, you're throwing away the best part." We thought she was just being old-fashioned, but it turns out she knew something we didn't. This brings us to our conversation with Dr. Evelyn Grant, a renowned nutritionist who has spent years studying traditional food practices. Dr. Grant explains that watermelon seeds are absolutely loaded with lycopene, the same powerful antioxidant that makes tomatoes red and gives watermelons their beautiful color. What many people don't realize, Dr. Grant tells us, is that watermelon seeds actually contain concentrated levels of lycopene, often higher than the fruit itself. This compound is like a shield for your cells, particularly effective at protecting against prostate and breast cancers. Marcus discovered this connection when his doctor expressed concern about his PSA levels during a routine checkup. Instead of panicking, Marcus remembered his grandmother's advice and started incorporating watermelon seeds back into his diet. He began making what Grandma Rosie used to call strength water, a simple drink made by blending watermelon seeds with water and a touch of honey. The transformation was remarkable. Within 6 months, Marcus's follow-up tests showed significant improvement. His doctor was amazed, but Marcus wasn't surprised. Grandma Rosie lived to be 94, he says. She never had cancer, never had major health problems. Now I understand why. The traditional wisdom that Marcus's grandmother carried isn't unique to New Orleans. Throughout African American communities across the South, watermelon seeds were prized for their health benefits. Families would dry them, roast them, or blend them into nutritious drinks, understanding intuitively what science is now proving. Dr. Grant points out that watermelon seeds are also rich in magnesium, which supports heart health, and zinc, which boosts immune function. It's a complete package, she explains. These seeds don't just fight cancer. They support your entire body's ability to stay healthy and strong. Making watermelon seed milk is easier than you might think. Simply take a handful of fresh seeds from a watermelon, blend them with water, strain if desired, and add a natural sweetener like honey. The result is a creamy, nutty-tasting drink that's incredibly refreshing and packed with protective compounds. Marcus now enjoys this drink 3 times a week, and he's teaching his own grandchildren about the wisdom their great-great-grandmother passed down. Food is medicine, he tells them, echoing Grandma Rosie's words. But only if you're smart enough to eat the right parts. The next time you enjoy watermelon, don't automatically discard those seeds. Instead, think of them as tiny capsules of protection, carrying forward the wisdom of generations who understood that nature provides everything we need to stay healthy and strong. Part 3. Millet, the Quiet Protector. Let me share the story of Colonel James Patterson, a 72-year-old retired Air Force officer from Colorado Springs. After decades of military rations and grabbing whatever food was convenient, James found himself facing a heart condition and elevated cancer markers that worried both him and his doctor. That's when his daughter Sarah, a nutritionist, introduced him to something he'd never heard of: millet. "Dad," she said, "this tiny grain has been keeping people healthy for thousands of years. Maybe it's time we paid attention to what our ancestors knew." James was skeptical at first. After all, he'd never seen millet in any grocery store he'd shopped in. But Sarah explained that this small, round grain, about the size of a pinhead, is actually one of the most nutritious foods on the planet. It's naturally gluten-free, packed with polyphenols that fight cancer, and loaded with magnesium that supports heart health. The beauty of millet, Sarah explained to her father, is that it works quietly. It doesn't make big promises or dramatic claims. It just steadily, consistently provides your body with exactly what it needs to protect itself from the inside out. James started simple. Instead of his usual instant oatmeal, he began making millet porridge for breakfast. He'd cook a week's worth on Sunday evening, then warm up a portion each morning, topped with a handful of berries and a drizzle of honey. The nutty, slightly sweet flavor grew on him quickly. Within 3 months, James noticed changes. His energy levels improved, his digestion was better, and most importantly, his follow-up blood work showed significant improvements in both his heart markers and cancer indicators. His doctor was impressed, but James wasn't entirely surprised. In the military, we learned that the best strategies are often the simplest ones. James reflects. Millet is like that. No fancy packaging, no bold claims, just solid, reliable nutrition that gets the job done. What makes millet particularly powerful for cancer prevention is its high concentration of antioxidants, especially polyphenols, that specifically target breast and colorectal cancer cells. Research shows that people who regularly consume millet have significantly lower rates of these cancers. James now enjoys millet in various ways: as morning porridge, added to soups for extra nutrition, or even popped like popcorn for a healthy snack. His favorite discovery is millet pilaf, where he cooks it like rice with herbs and vegetables. "It's become my secret weapon," James says. "People ask how I stay so healthy at my age, and I tell them about millet, Most have never heard of it, but once they try it, they understand. Sometimes the most powerful things come in the smallest packages. If you're ready to add millet to your diet, start with just a quarter cup cooked into your morning routine. Your body will thank you for this ancient grain's modern protection. Part 4. Sesame Seeds. Tiny treasures with ancient wisdom. I want you to meet Grace Chen, a vibrant 74-year-old grandmother from San Francisco's Chinatown, whose family has been using sesame seeds for both flavor and health for over 4 generations. When Grace was diagnosed with early-stage breast cancer 5 years ago, her first instinct wasn't to panic. It was to remember what her own grandmother had taught her about the power of tiny sesame seeds. In our family, we say that sesame seeds carry the wisdom of ancient healers. Grace explains, as she shows me her well-worn recipe collection. My grandmother always said that good health comes from small, consistent choices, not big dramatic changes. Grace's story beautifully illustrates how traditional wisdom aligns with modern science. Those tiny sesame seeds that she sprinkles on everything from salads to stir-fries are packed with compounds called sesamin and sesamol, powerful antioxidants that specifically target hormone-related cancers, like breast and prostate cancer. Dr. Maria Rodriguez, an oncologist who specializes in integrative cancer care, explains the science behind Grace's family tradition. Sesame seeds contain lignans that help regulate hormone levels in the body, Dr. Rodriguez tells us. For postmenopausal women especially, this can be incredibly protective against estrogen-driven cancers. But Grace's approach to sesame seeds goes beyond just their cancer-fighting properties. She views them as a daily ritual of self-care and cultural connection. Every morning, she toasts a tablespoon of sesame seeds in a dry pan until they're golden and fragrant. Then grinds them fresh in a small coffee grinder she keeps specifically for this purpose. The grinding releases the oils and makes the nutrients more available to your body, Grace explains. But more than that, it's a moment of mindfulness. I can smell the nutty aroma, feel the warmth of the pan, and connect with all the women in my family who did this same thing. Grace sprinkles her freshly ground sesame seeds on almost everything. Her morning congee, her afternoon salad, her evening soup. She's taught her daughters and granddaughters to do the same, passing down not just recipes, but a philosophy of health that values consistency over intensity. The research backs up Grace's approach. Studies show that people who consume sesame seeds regularly have lower rates of colorectal and breast cancers. The seeds are also rich in zinc, which supports immune function, and healthy fats that help your body absorb other cancer-fighting nutrients more effectively. What I love about Grace's story is how she's made sesame seeds a joyful part of her daily routine, not a medical chore. She keeps small containers of seeds throughout her house, in her kitchen, purse, and car, so she's never without them. She even travels with pre-portioned containers when visiting her children. My oncologist was amazed at how well I responded to treatment, Grace shares. Of course, I followed all the medical protocols, but I truly believe that my body was stronger and more resilient because of these small daily choices I'd been making for decades. Grace's secret sesame seed recipe is surprisingly simple. Toast the seeds until fragrant, grind them fresh, and use within a few days for maximum potency. She recommends starting with just a teaspoon per day, gradually increasing as your taste buds adapt to the nutty flavor. Remember, Grace says with a gentle smile, healing doesn't always come in big dramatic moments. Sometimes it comes in tiny seeds, eaten mindfully. with gratitude for the wisdom of those who came before us. Part 5. Almonds, the gentle stress fighter. Meet Robert Thompson, a 69-year-old retired accountant from Michigan, whose discovery of almonds' true power came at one of the most stressful times in his life. 3 years ago, Robert was caring for his wife during her battle with Alzheimer's, while dealing with his own health concerns. Elevated stress hormones that his doctor warned could increase his cancer risk. I was barely sleeping, constantly worried, and my blood pressure was through the roof, Robert remembers. My doctor suggested meditation, exercise, all the usual recommendations. But it was my neighbor, Mrs. Patterson, who gave me the advice that actually worked. Mrs. Patterson, a retired nurse, suggested that Robert try eating a handful of soaked almonds every evening before bed. She told me that almonds were nature's stress relief, and that soaking them overnight made them easier to digest and more nutritious. Robert explains. The science behind Mrs. Patterson's advice is fascinating. Almonds are loaded with vitamin E, one of the most powerful antioxidants for protecting cells from the kind of damage that chronic stress can cause. They also contain magnesium, which naturally calms the nervous system, and healthy fats that support brain function during difficult times. Dr. Jennifer Walsh, a geriatrician who specializes in stress-related health issues, explains why Robert's evening almond routine worked so well. Chronic stress creates inflammation throughout the body, and that inflammation is a major risk factor for cancer development. Almonds provide targeted nutrition that helps break this cycle. Robert's routine became a sacred part of his evening self-care. Every night before dinner, he would soak 12 almonds in a small bowl of water. The next evening, he would peel off the softened skins and eat the almonds slowly, one by one, while sitting quietly in his favorite chair. It became my meditation, Robert reflects. Those few minutes of quiet, mindful eating helped me transition from the stress of the day to a more peaceful evening. And knowing I was doing something positive for my health made me feel more in control. The results surprised even Robert's doctor. Within 6 months, his stress hormone levels had normalized, his sleep improved dramatically, and his blood pressure returned to healthy ranges. Most importantly, follow-up tests showed that markers associated with inflammation and cancer risk had significantly decreased. Robert continues his almond ritual, even though his wife is now in a care facility, and his immediate stress has decreased. It's become part of who I am, he says. Those 12 almonds represent taking care of myself, and they remind me that small, consistent actions can have profound effects. The key to Robert's success was the soaking process, which makes almonds easier to digest and increases the bioavailability of their nutrients. If you'd like to try Robert's approach, simply soak raw almonds overnight, remove the skins in the morning, and eat them as a mindful evening ritual. Part 6. Pumpkin Seeds, the men's health champion. Now I want to introduce you to Dr. David Martinez, a urologist who has spent over 20 years helping men navigate the health challenges that come with aging. But today, Dr. Martinez isn't just speaking as a medical professional. He's sharing a personal story about his own father's journey with prostate health. My dad, Antonio, was a proud Mexican-American man who worked construction for 40 years. Dr. Martinez begins. When he started having prostate issues at age 68, he was embarrassed and scared. As his son and as a doctor, I knew I had to help him find a solution that honored both his pride and his health. That solution came from an unexpected source. Antonio's own childhood memories of his mother saving pumpkin seeds every fall. "Mijo," Antonio's mother used to say, "These seeds are medicine for men. Don't waste them." Dr. Martinez explains the science behind his grandmother's wisdom. Pumpkin seeds are incredibly rich in zinc, which is absolutely critical for prostate health. They also contain phytosterols, natural compounds that can help reduce prostate inflammation and support urinary function. Antonio was initially skeptical about such a simple solution, but Dr. Martinez convinced him to try incorporating pumpkin seeds into his daily routine. They started with just a handful of raw, hulled pumpkin seeds each morning, along with Antonio's coffee and newspaper. Within 3 months, Dad's symptoms began improving, Dr. Martinez shares. His nighttime bathroom trips decreased, his flow improved, and his anxiety about his condition started to fade. But the real transformation was in his attitude. He felt empowered, like he was actively taking control of his health. The research supporting pumpkin seeds for men's health is substantial. Studies show that men who regularly consume pumpkin seeds have significantly lower rates of prostate cancer and benign prostate hyperplasia. The zinc content is particularly important, as zinc deficiency is strongly linked to prostate problems. What Dr. Martinez appreciates most about pumpkin seeds is their accessibility and simplicity. Unlike expensive supplements or complicated treatment protocols, pumpkin seeds are something any man can incorporate into his daily routine, he explains. Antonio developed his own preparation method. He would lightly toast raw pumpkin seeds in a dry skillet for about 5 minutes, just until they started to smell nutty. Then he'd sprinkle them with a tiny bit of sea salt and eat them warm. It became his morning ritual, Dr. Martinez says. Something he looked forward to, rather than dreaded. The improvement in Antonio's prostate health was remarkable, but the psychological benefits were equally important. Dad felt like he was being proactive, rather than just waiting for problems to get worse, Dr. Martinez reflects. That sense of agency is incredibly important for men his age. Dr. Martinez now recommends pumpkin seeds to many of his patients, especially men over 50. His advice: start with a 1/4 cup of raw, hulled pumpkin seeds daily, either eaten plain or lightly toasted. The key is consistency, making it a daily habit rather than an occasional healthy choice. Remember, Dr. Martinez concludes, your prostate health doesn't have to be something that just happens to you. Sometimes, the most powerful medicine comes in the simplest packages. Conclusion: your journey to natural protection starts today. My friends, we've traveled together through 6 remarkable stories. From Eleanor's peaceful macadamia ritual to Dr. Martinez's father finding hope in pumpkin seeds. Each story carries the same beautiful truth. Nature has provided us with simple, powerful tools for protecting our health, and it's never too late to start using them. Think about what we've discovered together today. Eleanor, at 78, glowing with vitality from her 15-year macadamia practice. Marcus, honoring his grandmother's wisdom while protecting his prostate health. Colonel James, finding strength in ancient millet. Grace, carrying forward 4 generations of sesame seed traditions. Robert, transforming stress into serenity with his evening almond ritual. And Antonio, reclaiming his masculine pride through the humble pumpkin seed. These aren't just individual success stories. They're proof that small, consistent choices can create profound transformations in our lives. Each person started with just one simple step: adding 1 handful of one type of seed to 1 meal per day. The beauty of this approach is its gentleness. You don't need to overhaul your entire life or follow complicated protocols. You don't need expensive supplements or dramatic lifestyle changes. You simply need to begin, today, with whatever seed speaks to you most strongly. Maybe it's Grace's sesame seed morning ritual that resonates with your cultural background. Perhaps Robert's evening almond meditation appeals to your need for stress relief. Or maybe Marcus's watermelon seed tradition connects with your family history. The key is to start somewhere, anywhere, and let your body experience the difference these seeds can make. I want to personally thank Dr. Evelyn Grant and Dr. David Martinez for sharing their expertise and helping us understand the science behind these ancient foods. Their knowledge bridges the gap between traditional wisdom and modern understanding, giving us confidence in choices our grandparents made intuitively. But most of all, I want to thank you for taking this journey with me today. By choosing to listen, to learn, and hopefully to act, you're taking control of your health in the most natural way possible. Your next step is beautifully simple. Choose one seed from our conversation today. Buy it this week. Incorporate it into one meal tomorrow. Notice how it tastes, how it makes you feel, how it fits into your daily rhythm. Remember, every single day you delay is another day your body isn't receiving the protection it deserves. But every single day you include these seeds is another day you're actively investing in your health, your vitality, and your future. The choice, my dear friends, is entirely yours. Choose wisely. Choose today. Your body will thank you for it.